Prabhupada's presence on this planet, Maharaj was regularly divine grace to spread Krishna consciousness in various countries worldwide, such as USA, London, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, and India. Maharaj has served as the temple president.
I'm talking to him. I told you to edit that. He served in various countries like USA, London. London is not a country.
Okay.
It's a city.
Maharaj has served as the temple president at various centers and also is a pioneer in opening and expanding many centers, helping in preaching about Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada personally said about him, he will always go wherever I send him. In another 2 letters written by Prabhupada, 28 July 1969, so far as Trivikram is concerned, he is a super first-class brahmachari. His service attitude, his submission is very nice, although he is still a new member. In another letter, 28 March 1973, I am very much glad to hear that you have decided to return to Japan and help Trivikram Maharaj. I heard from Trivikram that they are distributing large amounts of BTGs there in Tokyo, 500 to 1000 per day. His Holiness is well known for his loyalty and obedience to Srila Prabhupada's teachings, mood and mission. Maharaj has rendered so many personal services such as driving and giving massages to Srila Prabhupada regularly. After Srila Prabhupada's departure, His Holiness made sure that Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON would not be compromised by playing an active role in the Guru reform movement. Later on, His Holiness is actively preaching in parts of Eastern Europe such as Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, and Czech Republic. Maharaj has been accepting disciples on behalf of his spiritual master and ISKCON since 1987 and is well known for ecstatic kirtans, bhajans, and profound lectures with practical applications as per the teachings and instructions of Srila Prabhupada. Recently, Maharaj also started traveling and preaching in Germany, Spain, Slovakia, Bulgaria, etc. Okay. So we'd like to welcome His Holiness. We'd like to welcome His Holiness for his auspicious presence over here and gracing us second time. Actually, Maharaj is visiting India almost like after 2 decades, and this is like the second time he is doing it. So we are very happy and glad to receive enlightenment from Maharaj. So let us welcome Maharaj to ISKCON Seshadipuram by one time loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Do we know any bhajans? Bhajahure mana? Huh? Bhajahure. Bhajahure mana. Srinanda Nandana. Abhaya Charanara. Vindure. Bhajahure mana. Srinanda. Bhajahure mana Vinandanandana Abhaya Saranada Vindure. Bhajahure mana Vinandanandana Abhaya Saranada Vindure. Dulava manava janama satsange. Dulava manava Dulava manava janamata sange. Dulava manava janamata sange. Karo e baba sindure. Karo e baba sindure. Tapa Bhajavari Sana Edina Jamini Yagire. Sita tapa patavari jana he dinda jamini yagive. Vipale se vinu kripana durajana. Vipale se vinu kripana durajana. Dakala chikalava agide. Kalava agile. Hey nana yovana uchapari jana hey teke ate para chukile. Hey nana yovana uchapari jana hey teke ate para chukile. Kamala jala jala jivana jala mala. Kamala jala jala jivana jala mala. Ajaho hari pada nitire. Ajaho hari pada nitire. Vana kirtana marana vandana bharate vana dasare. Vana kirtana marana vandana bharate vana dasare. Pujana Saki Jana Atmani Vedana. Hey Pujana Saki Jana Atmani Vedana. Govinda Tatavi Datare. Govinda Tatavi Datare. Translation?
O mind, just worship the lotus feet of
The son of
the
Nanda.
son of Nanda.
You know who that is?
Which Krishna.
You want a microphone? You can take.
Which make one fearless. Having obtained this rare human birth, cross over this ocean of worldly existence through the association of saintly persons.
Both in a day and at night, I remain sleepless, suffering the pains of the heat and cold, the wind and the rain. For a fraction of flickering happiness, I have uselessly served wicked and miserly men.
What assurance of real happiness is there in all one's well, youthfulness, sons and family members? This life is tottering like a drop of water on lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve and worship the divine feet of Lord Hari.
It is the desire and great longing of Govinda Das to engage himself in the 9 process of bhakti, namely hearing the glories of Lord Hari and chanting those glories, constantly remembering him and offering prayers to him, serving the Lord's lotus feet, serving the Supreme Lord as a servant, worshipping him with flowers and incense and so forth, serving him as a friend and completely offering the Lord one's very self.
So Prabhupada said he liked this bhajan because It has points out the negative side also, and then gives you the positive side. So what's happening here? Well, this is the verse. I haven't seen it, huh? Or should we sing Jai Radha Madhava? Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Nandana Ajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Ajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Hey Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Ajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Om Jnana Timirandasya Janagana Salakayam Chakshusmiritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Tapitam Jena Bhutale Sayamana Jasadantikam Deham Shri Guru Shri Yata Varikamalam Shri Guru Shri Rupam Krishna Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Tatra Sasudari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. So thank you for inviting me to this wonderful temple with so many nice bhaktas. When I was sannyas, like for 3 years we were in Japan. We never had a program like this. I mean, there was nobody came. There was 3 or 4 of us, sometimes even less, 2 or 3. In Hong Kong, I was alone for some time. So it's a new life experience to see. Wherever I go, so many people are taking part in this. You see, the problem is that this is in my vision when I read it. That's why I had it lower. So I see we have a wonderful verse to speak on today about the mind. The mind is the key. That's there in the 6th chapter. Mind is a best friend or worst enemy. But generally, because we've been treating it as our guru, the mind. Mind is like our guru. Yeah, I made up my mind. But how is the mind made up? That's the problem. The mind is made up by dictation of the senses and past experience. So, it doesn't, it's not in Krishna consciousness, not even in the mode of goodness. This is the difficulty. Therefore, the yogis, they go to the Himalayas, so much difficulty, austerities, just to control the mind. That's their motive. They want to bring the mind under control. So it's not an easy thing. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have a process which is easy. So this Maha Mantra, mantra means mind, man, and cha. To get released from the mind, all we have to do is come together like this and loudly chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So why not do it? Take up this process seriously. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. We have to do it with determination, like Dhruva Maharaj was so determined. He was going to find God. His mother told him God was in the forest. He was going to find God. Narada Muni came and said, you know, now the palace is missing you. Everybody is sorry if they offended you. Come back to the palace. You don't have to stay here by yourself in the forest. And the boy was so determined, he said, listen, if you can help me, it's okay, otherwise you get lost. In fact, that's what he said in vernacular talk. So then when Narada Muni left, he gave him this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which is a perfect mantra also. But we have Hare Krishna for the age of Kali. So this was before the age of Kali. He was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he attained perfection in 6 months. He was so determined. And when Narada Muni left, he said, just see the determination of the Kshatriya boy. That's one of the qualities of Kshatriya. He's going to succeed or die, that's all. No in between. Either we're going to win or we die. So that was his mood. So we have to have that kind of mood. Either I'm going to attain Krishna or die trying. But the problem is we don't have that determination. So how do we get determination? One way we get determination is by seeing the progress we've already made. Everybody's made some progress. That's a fact. We wouldn't still be sitting here on a Saturday morning listening to a class. You'd be out doing something, shopping or getting ready for whatever. So on a Saturday, where do they go? Where do they go? Cinema? No, what do they do on Saturday? Movies? And, yeah. So you'd be thinking about that. What's a good movie today? But instead you're sitting here on a hard floor. So you have some determination. So how to increase that determination is by getting a higher taste. Param Jistanavartate. We get a higher taste, then we don't think about going back. Nobody's thinking about eating meat, right? Because we have a better thing, prasada. So this is what we have to get. And the quickest way to get a higher taste is in the kirtan. Prabhupada told us a story. We were in Vrindavan, 1974. We had come from Hong Kong. We thought that the Krishna Balaram temple was going to open at that time. But it didn't open. They were delayed, so it opened 6 months later in April. So Prabhupada was there, and he came every night for the evening program. It started at 6:30. We had Arti. And then one of the sannyasis had to speak. I had to speak also in front of Prabhupada. It was... and then second kirtan we had. And Shruti Kirti was Prabhupada's servant. He told him, tell the speakers to make the class short, and then we had a second kirtan. So every night we had a half-hour class. If you spoke more than that, Prabhupada's secretary would come and say, okay, so that's enough. And then we had a second kirtan every night. And second kirtan would go on, hour and a half. I mean, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did 4 hours kirtan every night. Yes, read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that was a really good kirtan. Rolling on the ground, tears shooting from the eyes, hair standing on end. When will that day be mine? My offenses ceasing, taste for the name increasing. When in my heart will your mercy shine? That's what we want. So, Prabhupada is so kind. He, after the program was over, one program, and his health was improving, he was sitting on his bed, one of those wooden beds that you see in India. We don't see in the West so much. And he was waiting for the mosquitoes to start bothering him before he put up his mosquito net. And he spoke. Shruti Kirti was sitting on the ground, I was sitting on the ground, Prabhupada was on his bed. He said, from way in his heart, he spoke. He said, this kirtan is a special mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if you don't get taste for the kirtan, simply sex life. So that helped me over the years. People say, you're a passionate man from New York. How did you stay sannyas all these years? Because I always come to the kirtan when I get a chance. Morning, nude, we go out on the streets. So this has saved me. I can see very easily that without the kirtan I would have never been able to remain celibate. So the kirtan is our medicine. It's also our pleasure. It's a bitter medicine in the beginning, maybe, but even in the beginning it's good, right? But then it turns into real nectar, more and more. As we chant, we get more and more taste. And then we become addicted. Krishna's tricked us into being sincere devotee. Okay, so this verse is a good verse about the mind. Who's good at Sanskrit? I'm not so good. Savasanatma visayo parakto. Savasayatma vishashoya pokakto. Guna pravaho vikrita sodasatma. Guna pravaho vikrita sodasatma. Vibrad pritan namabi rupa vedam. Brihad patan namabi rupa vedam. Antabhavishtam cha puraistanoti. Antabhavishtam cha puraistanoti. Go ahead, somebody can try it. Savasanatma visayo parakto. Guna pravaho vikata surasatma. Virat pitannam abhirupa vedam. Anta bhavishyam vitanesu. Very nice. Savasanatma vishayo parakto guna prabhavo vikata suratma Vyakritannam abhirupa vedam Anta bhavishtam cha parastanoti. Shasanatma vishayo parakto guna prabhavo vikasodasatma Viratkitanam avirupa vedam Mataji's? Shatranatma vishayo parakto guna prabhavo vikasodasatma Viratkitanam avirupa vedam Pavishtam cha paraistanoti. Shastanatma vishayo parakto guna prabhavo vikasodasatma Tatkatannam abhirupa vedam Sa, that, vasana, endowed with many desires, atma, the mind, vishaya, uparakta, attached to material happiness, sense gratification, guna pravaha, driven by the force of either sattvaguna, rajaguna, or tamaguna. Vikta, transformed by lust and so on. Sudashatma, the chief of 16 material elements. The 5 gross elements, the 10 senses, and the mind. Vibrat, wandering. Piktak namabi, with separate names. Upabedam, assuming different forms. Antabhavishtam, the quality of being first class or last class. Cha, and Puraya, with different bodily forms. Tanoti, manifest. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because the mind is absorbed in desire for pious and impious activities, it is naturally subjected to the transformations of lust and anger. In this way, it becomes attracted to material sense enjoyment. In other words, the mind is conducted by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. There are 11 senses. Let's stop there. So, this is discussed in the 14th chapter. The 3 modes of material nature are thoroughly discussed there. It's an important chapter. Everybody should read that chapter. And wonderful purpose by Srila Prabhupada. And he describes how the mode of goodness is purer than the others. And one who works in the mode of goodness, he can be happy in this world for some time. Obviously, it's temporary, but that happiness may be experienced. But Prabhupada, the downside of that is, one thinks this kind of life is nice, and so at the time of death, they get another body, maybe in the mode of goodness. That'll be calculated at the time of death, where you're going. 2 qualities will be determined. Your desire and what you deserve. Then you go into the next womb. So mostly people think that religion means mode of goodness. You help the people, you give food to the poor, and so on. But this is still in the modes of nature. So that's described later in that chapter. Mam cha yogya vicharina bhakti yogena sevate saguna samititata brahmabhuyaya kalpate. We can transcend completely these modes of material nature and come to the level of Brahman by becoming a serious devotee. So this is what Prabhupada is offering us. This is what Krishna is offering us. It's up to us whether we take it or not. There's never force in spiritual life. No one can force us. We came here by desire, our own personal desire. The symptom of the soul is it has desire. It has activity also. So by desire, we've come here. By our own desire, we've come here. By our own desire, we can go back. But nobody can desire for us. I tell the story of how when I was first coming to Krishna consciousness, I was very enlightened because I had been looking for something and I met the devotees. I thought, well, these people are so sincere. And the chanting I really liked. And Prashadam was, outstanding. I was living alone, eating peanut butter sandwiches. So when I saw all this Prashadam, and pre-Prashadam, there was a wonderful kirtan. I said, wow, this is really wonderful. So when I was coming, I had a dream. This was like a few weeks before I moved in the temple. I had a dream. And in the dream, Krishna consciousness was like a big, delicious sandwich. And it was right in front of me. And all I had to do is bite it. So with that much we have to do. We have to bite into this movement, into this process. That requires just good intelligence. I wasn't so special. I wasn't very austere or something. Like Radhanath Swami, he was living as like an austere monk in the Himalayas or something, right? You know this, right? But I wasn't just an ordinary person. I was serious about spiritual life, though. I remember I left the university one time. We went looking. We heard in California there was a person, Aldous Huxley. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but his wife had written a book. And anyway, I didn't find what I was looking for. So I came back to the university, and there I met the devotees. They had opened a center there. And they had a program, and a famous poet, I guess he's not famous anymore, he came to the program that the devotees had arranged on the campus, and there was 300 or 400 devotees, people there attended his, because he was famous. His name was Allen Ginsberg. I don't know. He may not be famous anymore, but at the time he was like the avant-garde hippie. He was a hippie before hippies were hippies. They called him beatniks or something. Anyway, he chanted very nice. He had learned the chanting in India. And he met Prabhupada after that, but he didn't become a devotee. He had a tune. He didn't sing call and response. He just sang. Everybody sang the same tune. I remember that tune. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And he was playing the harmonium. And it got quite ecstatic. The kids were all dancing, all the students were dancing. Of course, Prabhupada's kirtans were really out of sight. He also did a program in Ohio State University. And the students were jumping, even in the balcony, they were jumping up and down in Prabhupada's kirtan. And Ginsberg was there for that program also. But Prabhupada's kirtan was superior. But Prabhupada tried to make him a devotee, but he was too much attached to sense gratification. He was kind of homosexually like boys too, and so Prabhupada gave up on him. He probably got a letter recommending that we don't associate with such a person, and Prabhupada took it. So he said, let's not associate with him anymore, because he had a bad reputation, homosexual and so on. So anyway, this is the key, how to become advanced. We have to control the mind. And the best way to control the mind is engaging in Krishna service. Because the mind is absorbed in desire for, we read that. Where do I stop? There are 11 senses. I think that's where we are, right? There are 11 senses and 5 material elements, and out of these 16 items, the mind is the chief. Therefore, the mind brings about birth in different types of bodies, among demigods, human beings, animals, and birds. When the mind is situated in a higher or lower position, it accepts a higher or lower material body. Purport. Transmigrating from 8,400,000 species is due to the minds being polluted by certain material qualities. Due to the mind, the soul is subjected to pious and impious activities. The continuation of material existence is like the waves of material nature. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Maya Devasayachik. How does it go? Who knows the tune? How do do bubai, Maya Devasayachik Besikachu, how do do bubai. My dear brother, the spirit soul is completely under the control of Maya, and you are being carried away by its waves. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Prakrite kriyamanani gunaya karmanani sarvasa ahankara virudmadna kartahamiti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities which are actually carried out by nature. So I got a letter just the other day by one disciple was saying how sometimes she thinks she's the doer. So we're not the doer, but we are the desirer. So we can desire, and then Krishna can arrange for that desire to be filled. But we can't automatically fulfill that desire. That requires the help of superiors, demigods and the Lord. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, then we bypass the demigods and we can directly approach Krishna. This is our good fortune. We were on a morning walk once, and a new initiated, he asked Prabhupada, he said, Srila Prabhupada, have you ever seen Lord Indra? Prabhupada didn't like the question. He said, if I did, how would it be influence you? If I did or didn't? And the Bodhi was quiet. And then I spoke, I said, actually, Lord Indra is eager to meet Srila Prabhupada. That's the fact. Sometimes we would go on, we had a program and there weren't so many people came, and Prabhupada would say, no, the demigods were there. They can be. With having nice kirtan, the demigods come. You won't see them, but they can come in a subtle body. Prabhupada was alluding to that. So anyway, we should always remember how fortunate we are that we met Srila Prabhupada. Material existence means being fully controlled by material nature. You see, they think they're independent, but they're not independent. Just like we think we're independent now. We can get up and walk out. Yeah, we have a little independence, but we're dependent on the air. If there's no air, what is our position? In 2 minutes, we're crying, screaming, laying on the floor. So we're dependent at every step, but we think we're independent. We do have some independence. Krishna is fully independent. We have minute independence because we're a small particle of Krishna, Amsa. But we don't have real independence. Our independence consists of turning to God or turning away from God. Once we turn away from God, we're under the control of the material modes of nature. But we think we're independent. And once we turn to Krishna, then we're under the Yoga Maya. We're also controlled, but by the spiritual energy. So we're never independent. So Prabhupada is saying, material existence means being fully controlled by material nature. You ask anybody on the street, are you free? Yeah, I'm free. But they're not. We're fully controlled by material nature. The mind is the center of accepting the dictations of material nature. In this way, the living entity is carried away in different types of bodies, continuously, millennium after millennium. How long we've been here, we can't even trace out. And now is the chance to get out. Therefore, we should be enthusiastic about this opportunity. If we miss it, again we may have to wait millions of years. before we meet another pure devotee. Now everything is favorable. We have the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, we have his books, we have his assurance. Like we were coming back from a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada, and I was in the back seat with two other sannyasis. Prabhupada was in the front and the driver. And we came back a different way. So the devotees didn't see us. They were all lined up waiting for Prabhupada to come this way, but we came this way. So that they didn't see us. But Prabhupada saw them standing on the street and so. And he said, with a voice with full conviction, they cannot check this movement. He said, they cannot check this movement. It will go unchecked for the next 10,000 years. So that's what Prabhupada's prediction. And we have to fulfill it. Of course, it's not mechanical. He said, Prabhupada said, if there's any danger, it's from within our own ranks. Like this Rig-Fig philosophy. It's bogus. There's no Rig-Figs here, I hope. Rig-Fig philosophy is a reaction to the fact that people had an estimation that Prabhupada wouldn't make a guru that could fall down. But the living entity always has independence. He asked some people to take up that service, and some of them didn't fulfill that properly. And so the Rig-Figs thought Prabhupada never gave that order. No, he ordered them. He ordered them to take disciples. They say the final order was in July, but the real final order was in October. If anybody interested in this subject, if you meet Rig-Figs or you want to, I have written a paper on it, so I can forward it to you. But it's a bogus philosophy. They're saying the first point at why it's bogus is Dharma tu Shakshat Bhagavat Panitam. Religion is only given by God. Prabhupada can't create religion. He's a jiva. He doesn't create religion. He follows. He has his guru. And the original guru is Krishna. So we don't see any acharya making religious principle. This is a religious principle. Parampara. Krishna came to reestablish. She appears to be broken. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasa yugadu. The 4th chapter is there. So how can you say, in other words, Krishna came to reestablish parampara and Prabhupada came to stop it? That's what they're saying. Parampara has stopped now. So challenge these rascals. Don't let them. Where did he have his first temple? Here? Huh? It's a big temple here, right? In this city. Oh. So anyway, we spoke to the temple president in the last place. What's his name? Narahari. He was saying he was with him, but then he became very political and he left. But he said he wasn't philosophical. He just wanted power, this Madhu Pandit guy. I went to that temple when it was still in ISKCON. Anyway, I'm just saying that because you may have an opportunity to meet some of them, right? You meet them on the street or when you're doing, and they preach to you. The problem with ISKCON is these gurus. That's what I heard him speaking. Okay. Here's a nice comment from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Prabhupada is giving us. He says, Krishna bole se jiva anandi vimukha. Who can sing it? Come on.
Krishna bole se jiva anadi bahirmukha.
Due to the living entity's forgetfulness of Krishna, one is bound by the laws of material nature. So we remember Krishna, then we get free from the laws of material nature. It's not a permanent situation. It's in our hand. We want to be free. Prabhupada is giving us the process. We have to take it seriously, like Dhruva. He took it very seriously. He didn't, even Narada Muni tried to convince him, no. He was Kshatriya, determined. We have to have a little of that qualification of being determined to do or die. Kshatriya said, I'm going to win or die. So we should have that determination. I'm going to become a devotee, a pure devotee, or I'm going to die trying. And then Krishna will say, well, this guy is really serious. Or this lady is really serious. And Krishna will reciprocate. Because if we need Krishna to help us, we can't do it on our own. We have to get mercy of the Lord. So the Lord will give us mercy if He sees we're really serious. So this is opportunity. Everything favorable. We have the Acharya, we have his books, we have this institution which he told us to cooperate together to expand. He said it's like a skyscraper, we have to fill it in. He gave us the framework, so we can do like that. We have plenty to service. Nobody can say, I don't know what to do. No. We have Prabhupada's order. Cooperate together. Push on this movement. Okay, any questions? I'll read the verse once more. Because the mind is absorbed in desire for pious and impious activities, it is naturally subjected to the transformation of lust and anger. In this way, it becomes attracted to material sense enjoyment. In other words, the mind is conducted by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. There are 11 senses and 5 material elements, and out of these 16 items, the mind is the chief. Therefore, the mind brings about birth in different types of bodies among demigods, human beings, animals, and birds. When the mind is situated in a higher or lower position, it accepts a higher or lower material body. So very clear. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this philosophy, but you have to be a little serious and simple. That verse is there, right, in the Bhagavad Gita? Maya paritagyana. Those who are over-intelligent, they can't see. If they're too intelligent, they can't see the simple thing, that there's a God. It didn't happen by a big bang. And he left his body? What was his name? Hawkins or something? Yeah. He was very intelligent, right? IQ or whatever. I saw Prabhupada preaching to some of those IQ people. They have a society, Mensa Society or something. And Prabhupada met some. The guy couldn't understand the simple point, you're not this body. He couldn't understand. No, it's not easy to understand, really, to have the realization. So anyway, the point is, we have everything favorable. Don't miss this opportunity. So no questions. There's a question. Do you need a microphone? Yeah. The lady wants to speak too, so give a microphone to her for the next question.
My question is that when the mind gets transformed by lust or anger, so that time the living entity, although he wants to remember Krishna, but because of mind is transformed,
Yeah.
he may again go away from Krishna even though he wants to be Krishna conscious.
No, it depends how much he wants to be. If your determination is weak, he can be carried away. Otherwise, you can hold on like anything. Nobody can pull you away. That depends on us. And we can transfer. That's the whole point. Why are we preaching? Because we can change lust into love. It can be changed. Originally, we are loving, but it's transferred into lust in contact with the material nature. And by contact with spiritual nature, we can overcome that lust. And it comes again to the spiritual point. But you have to be really determined, it's true. Otherwise, I've seen so many carried away. You can imagine, I've been an ISKCON man 57 years. How many people I've seen leave? I've seen a lot. Therefore, Prabhupada said, don't be surprised those who leave. Because this is Maya's kingdom. Once Prabhupada was asked by the temple president's wife, when he came to London, Janaki, she said, Prabhupada, you're so wonderful. You want to save the whole world. A very emotional outburst, feminine outburst. And Prabhupada was a little thoughtful. He said, yes, but it's not so easy. This is Maya's kingdom. So it's true. You don't have to look for Maya. She's there. You have to look for Krishna. So therefore we have to take a program to help us remember Krishna at every step. Therefore it's called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, that we become Krishna conscious instead of materially conscious. So we can do it. Bhagavad Gita says, many in the past have attained success in this way. We can be one of the many. But we have to take it. The same with the sandwich I talked about. You have to bite into it. You can't just say, oh, that's a nice sandwich. No, if you want to get the nourishment and the taste, you have to take a bite. So all of you are doing that, or you wouldn't be sitting on the floor right now. But don't get discouraged. If others fall down, that's their business. We can try our best to help them, but ultimately, everybody is independent. Next question, Mataji. I told her, give you a microphone to her. She has to get up and get it. Okay. It's not turned on. Try switching. This is a tech city, right? You can't have a microphone that works? It's on, he says. Run. Do you want this microphone? Is there another microphone? Huh? 5 minutes? Huh? Now he's running, that's good.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, like mind is our friend and it's our enemy too. So then in the lower stages of devotion, does the mind act as a friend at all, or it's 100% an enemy in the lower stages, and when does it act like a friend, Maharaj?
Well, it's a difficult question to answer. It depends on your intelligence. If your intelligence is strong, then it's higher than the mind. Isn't it say the senses, then the mind, then the intelligence? So if you're really stupid, then you'll remain subjected to the dictates of the mind. But with a little spiritual knowledge and association, that's why Prabhupada made this society. It was a headache for him. He openly said, this management gives me a headache. But he was forced to manage. Even he created the GBC to remove his management. But still, the GBC were fighting and Prabhupada was drawn in. I remember we were in Vrindavan and one GBC man came. And Prabhupada, afterwards I heard him making a comment that they've come 10,000 miles to lodge complaint. So that was like later, 76 or something. So, what was my point? That if we are a little intelligent, then we can make progress. The more we become intelligent, then the more we'll see that Krishna consciousness is the best thing, and I should be very careful to accept only things that are favorable for my Krishna consciousness and reject things that are unfavorable. And then the mind won't have any room, because we're only giving it Krishna consciousness. But still, we expect it will slip sometimes, like a child learning to walk. We're not surprised he falls down sometimes. But he gets up again, because he sees everybody else is walking, so I have to learn how to walk. He's determined. If sometimes the children are brought up by the wolves, they remain crawling on all four, even as teenagers, they're still crawling on 4 legs, because that's the example. But we have the example of Srila Prabhupada, shining example, and we have the other devotees who are giving us the example, Jayapataka Maharaj, your Radhanath Swami. So why should we fall down? Learn how to walk. Learn how to be a devotee. It's not impossible for anybody. Like Magrari the hunter, what was his qualification? He used to torture the animals before he killed them. He didn't just kill them, he tortured them first. And when Narada Muni asked him, why are you tortured? Well, we learned this from our father. We take pleasure in this. Such a class of man, but he became a devotee under the order of Narada Muni. And then his wife also. And then the people used to come and bring them food. Because he was saying, well, how will I be able to eat if I can't hunt? He was hunting rabbits and so on. But Narada Muni gave him assurance, just do that. And then people were amazed, this man has changed. And they used to come and bring rice and dal, whatever. And he didn't have to hunt. So it depends on our faith. And faith is cultivated in association with those who are more faithful. And that's why Prabhupada wanted this society. It's vital that we associate with the like-minded. And we come together and encourage each other. Okay, maybe we should stop. I think the time is getting late, huh? Do we have a schedule we have to keep? What time is it now? 9:12?
1 minute to 9.
Oh. He has to translate. He does, he's good. My hearing is not so good. That's one point in my old age. I'm 84, this is my 84th year on the planet. So I do have a little trouble with hearing. Otherwise, my health is pretty good. I can't complain. I have, they said, the doctors say my heart is good and lungs are good. Okay? Yes. One more. Last question. 9 o'clock.
Thank you very much. We say the mind is a subtle matter, and mind behaves against the desire of the soul. That's what we say.
Mind is what?
Behaves against the desire of the soul.
Not necessarily. If it's purified, if it's, then we can use our mind. Prabhupada had a mind, but he wasn't controlled by the mind. But his mind was helping him, making plans, how to push on this movement. So we don't say the mind is evil, but it's generally controlled by the senses. 5 senses in the mind is the 6th sense. And so the senses are pushing, go here, see this, there's a cinema, there's a rock concert, or whatever. And so the intelligence may give advice. You know, last time you went, you weren't that satisfied. Why are you going to go again? But the intelligence can be discarded. Because the mind and senses are pushing. So the mind is not evil.
So in our conditioned stage, when our mind and senses are pure.
I couldn't follow.
In our conditioned stage, when our mind and senses are impure, that time we have being coming in association of devotees, we have a desire to advance in spiritual life also.
Yeah.
But there is a contaminated consciousness, or contaminated mind, can say.
Yeah, so therefore we require sadhu and guru and shastra to help us. But we have to be humble enough to accept help. If we're puffed up, we'll think, no, I can do it by myself. I don't need help. You ask the people on the street, how are you? I'm okay. Probably gives the example, the man is lying on the bed, he's being fed intravenously, and they're coming to collect his stool, his urine. You ask him, how are you? I'm okay. So this is we're not okay. If we accept that we're not okay, then we can be open to get help. But if we're a little proud, then our karma will dictate what's our future going to be. Therefore, the devotee is always humble. Prabhupada was very humble. Do I have enough time to tell a story about Prabhupada? Yeah. So I was given the service of giving massage to Srila Prabhupada in London. I was the senior brahmachari. And when Prabhupada came, he liked vigorous massage. So I gave him massage. And after the massage, I said, Prabhupada, I never gave massage before, so I'm going to go to the library and get a book on how to give massage. But it's not necessary. If you read Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will tell you how to give massage. So I never got that book. But I wanted to make the point. So I was giving massage every day. And then we had the first big open program in London We advertised a lot. A lot of people came, maybe 50% Hindus. A lot of Hindus in London. And 300 or 400 people came, which was for us, early day, it was a big crowd. And so Prabhupada was speaking, and one Indian man was interrupted. What about Lord Shiva? Why are you only talking about Krishna? Like that, or something like that. And Prabhupada answered, Shiva is Shiva Tattva, Vishnu Tattva is higher than, like that. But he wasn't satisfied. Being Prabhupada went back giving class, and this guy interrupted again. He stood up, interrupted Prabhupada's lecture. And Prabhupada turned to him and said, "Sit down, you are nonsense." So we never saw Prabhupada so bold, because in his quarters, he was always just mild and never raised his voice like that. So the next day, it was a series of lectures, so I was giving him a massage, and he was going to speak again that night. So I was thinking, I'm getting him in shape for another knockout performance. I was massaging and talking and massaging, and Prabhupada was just quiet. I learned later from Shruti Kirti that, when you're giving massage to Prabhupada, you shouldn't talk, because it's a resting period. The doctors recommend he should be resting at that time. But I didn't know. I'm just talking away. And my mood was kind of, you and me, Prabhupada, we can take over the world. Why not? I had a lot of, I was worshiping Prabhupada. By that time, I was convinced that Prabhupada was superhuman. So anyway, I'm massaging like that, and suddenly Prabhupada says, "No!" And my hands like froze on his body. Then he spoke with another voice from way in his heart. He said, "I am just a humble servant." Like a 7-year-old child speaking, just speaking very simply and speaking the truth. And I felt so embarrassed. I thought, this person is so like an aristocrat, and I'm just a Sudra off the streets of New York. I shouldn't be allowed to be in the same room with him, or to speak of touching his body. And then there was a throw rug there. I thought I should go under the rug. So Prabhupada was so genuinely humble. It was genuine that he made me a little humble. So this is the qualification. And how is it possible? Because he was always remembering his spiritual master and Krishna. In that relationship, he was a humble servant. He wasn't artificially humble. He was humble because he thought himself, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. He didn't think he was so special. And even after he was successful, spread this mission all over the world, he said, if I get any credit, I took the order of my spiritual master as my life and soul. He didn't take credit on himself. He took the order of his spiritual master as a guiding light, which was a fact. Bhaktisiddhanta told him the first time he met him, 1922, that you should preach in English and go to the Western world. And so Prabhupada did that. So where was I? Was that, or the one story of how Prabhupada was humble, made me humble. But still he was encouraging. And the same story I can speak a couple of months later, because Prabhupada was there for 3 months. I was giving that. He gave a class in the evening. He was giving every evening class. And that's one thing. I say in some temples they don't have evening class, but Prabhupada gave evening class every night. I never saw Prabhupada do a program where he didn't speak. We had a lot long kirtan. We maybe sometimes spoke less, but there should be some kind of speaking. Do you have this out here? Yes. We do? Every night? Oh, that's good. Some temples don't have it. They just, anyway. So I was telling this story. Prabhupada was speaking how the spiritual master was the representative of Krishna, and I got like a mystical experience looking at Prabhupada. He was just closer than he is now. I was standing where that boy is, and Prabhupada. So I got like this vision of something happened to me, mystical, that it dawned on me that Prabhupada is not an ordinary man. He's really representing Krishna. He's just standing right in front of me. But I didn't speak anything. But next morning I went to give massage, and I said to Srila Prabhupada, "Srila Prabhupada, I very much liked your class last night." And Prabhupada said, "Oh?" What part did you like? And I told him how. So this time he didn't say no. He accepted it fully. I was watching him. He accepted it. That he's a representative of Krishna. He accepted it. And then he turned it around. He said, you also can be representative of Krishna. When you say, Prabhupada said, he used his own name, or Krishna said, then you're also representing Krishna. So it's not difficult to be guru. Just represent Krishna. Represent what Krishna says. And why is that difficult? Huh? Prabhupada wanted thousands of gurus. And it'll come. So, I mean, I'm a little controversial on this subject, but I think women can be gurus too. Because it's not a management position. I don't think they should manage. Management means you have to be a little kshatriya. And you have to get... So women shouldn't be subjected to... Just like why did I had Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister? You see what happened. You shouldn't put women in the front where they're going to be shot or they're going to be argued with by some man who maybe get physical with them and slap them or something. In my opinion, they shouldn't be managers. They shouldn't be temple presidents or GVCs. But guru is like an advisory position. If some ladies want to have a woman guru she's very advanced, she knows the subject, I don't see the harm. But anyway, I don't think most of the GVCs agree with me. So that you don't worry, there probably won't be any women gurus. Or maybe you don't mind. Ladies, how do you feel? You think women should be also allowed to initiate? Yes or no? Raise your hand. Yeah. If you think yes, raise your hand. Nobody's raised. If you think no, raise your hand. Go back to sleep. Okay. I'm going to stop now. We'll end with a laugh. You have to keep them laughing. Srila Prabhupada ki. Save the whole world, Srila Prabhupada. But we have to help him. We have our part to play. Hare Krishna. So when's the next program? When's the next program?
We have a program at a nearby center of this temple. They are opening a new center.
So let us thank His Holiness Trivikram Swami for sharing such valuable lessons from Bhagavatam with so many pastimes of Prabhupada. We want to thank lovingly chanting the Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today is Ekadashi. Devotees can do the needful.
Ekadashi, we should chant more round.